Welcome back to Tarot Journeys with Guy. How's everybody out there? Now, my head's swimming. I don't know about your guys's, but what a whirlwind of events that we've been going through, and now we are here. We really have arrived. We are in, I guess, is what we could call is the quickening, right? So, yeah, they tried to assassinate President Trump, and then the RNC went through, and that was a kind of a whirlwind event, and it was pretty awesome. The speech that President Trump gave was pretty, was long, but it was great, and it was kind of a pretty awesome event. But it's also, we're in grave times, and especially in the United States, but all over the world, we've never been in a time like this. Now, for the deep state, for the globalists to make this attempt, and I'm not going to mix words, I really do believe that the globalist, entrenched, deep state intelligence community has a hand in this, if not indirectly, or directly, if not indirectly. Now, and that's speculation as well, because there is a lot of information flying around, and we do have to remain kind of cool and collect, because they're relying on people to have a panic attack, to either through fear or anger, right? And to have a reaction. So yeah, they did this. And so this is one of these signs that they're desperate, and that they're making their moves. So this morning, I guess, and yesterday, depending on when this actually gets posted, I'm going to try to post this the day that I'm shooting this, and I'm shooting this on Friday. In the morning, there was a global cyber outage. Okay, and that affected a lot of different things all over the planet. Airports, banks, communications, hospitals, a lot of that stuff, right? Now, and that's something that they've been priming and with predictive programming and telling people that that's what they're essentially going to do, is shut down the internet or create a staged cyber attack and then blame it on these so-called bad actors, whether it's Russia, Iran, Trump supporters, the right wing, everybody but them, of course, right? And so we know this. We know that they've been gaslighting the populace and using those techniques to cover their own tracks, right? And to create this situation of deniability. So that's happened this morning, and it's sort of like a test to see how much they can get away with. It's also a distraction. So one of these global distractions that, right, it throws us off from looking at what's really going on. Okay, in a way, but it's part of the globalist attack. I'm pretty certain of that. But yet, we have to be careful, and that's what we all have to sort of keep in mind, that we, many of us that have been, in the freedom movement and, Q and watching independent media and all of the stuff that's happened and for so long now, we were prepared for this precise moment and to be activated and to act. And this isn't a movie. This isn't just a movie. It seems like a movie, but it's a deadly movie. And it's a movie that if you don't take part in, it's going to get worse. Okay, so, and that's part of it. With that said, there's a lot of hope right now. And man, things could really switch around. That it really could happen. And we got to remain in that sort of honest place with ourselves, but yet remain positive and hopeful about the work that we have done. The work that all of us, millions and millions of us all over the planet, whoever and wherever we are, and in the States right now especially, right, it is an awakening. Okay, so, and that's a big thing. And so, and it's very telling what happens in the States, what's going to happen in, like in Canada, for instance, or in any other places in the world, right, where, freedom is very important. Okay, and I have, qualms about this or that, but it doesn't really matter at this point, because what we're trying to do is remain spiritually present and connected and grounded, but also aware of what is being thrown at us. How are we being attacked? What's going to happen next, right? Like, and this is what we've been doing, but it's part of the spiritual warriorship, I guess, is really what it refers to, where many of us we have been called or activated. And a lot of it too is just, it is holding the energy and holding that space. Okay. And, and it's, yeah, like the words of unity, like especially the words of unity coming from me, I guess they're not false. So this is what we need to seek in our lives, even though there's so much division, and not, and that's part of the trick and part of the task and part of our challenge is to not fall for the divisions that are there. And how we're going to get through this is to find where we can unify. Now, granted, yes, we're not always going to agree, but in order to rout out and to find out and to clean out the corruption and these criminals and these people that have been entrenched, these globalists, I'm not going to mince words, right? The globalist entity, the globalist group, that they're dying. This is why they're panicking. And and it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. It's going to be very tricky. And so people have to remain cool. So, but we are in dangerous times. We've never seen this happen before. Closest is the 60s with JFK. And it's the same. There's a very similar, there's a narrative there, right? So what's gonna happen next? This is like, what are they gonna do now? And who knows, like within the time period that I've been like recording this video, something could have happened, and this is why, it's why we're sitting here doing a reading. Okay. We're going to get through all of this. It's going to be great. And some people that see me in real life sometimes get the double dose, because sometimes I'm not so positive, right? Because I don't always see positive things. But it's so that we can shift it. Because now I am really seeing a positive future. I'm starting to actually be able to see a future for myself, however that is. Whereas before, I could see no future. But I guess that's the nature of a war, of a psychological, and that's what we're in. And to prevent more war, a bigger war, a World War III, and that's ultimately these guys, this globalist camp, this cabal, this death cult, that's what they want. They will create it if they get away with it, right? And it will be an excuse to create a global tyranny. Right? So, and they've been priming us, like civil war, cyber attack, war with Russia. The climate thing is kind of funny because it in certain sectors they still really push that, but that really has failed. It's really proven to be completely false. All the evidence has come out. All the things that they've been pushing for 30 or 40 years, it's come out. It's not true. Sea levels haven't risen at all. Polar bears and the ice caps and oh man. And right, and there's a psychological and a sociological circumstance that's going on that they're utilizing, right? It's information overwhelm. The capacity, the everyday person's capacity to take in that level of information that we're all being bombarded with, we're not trained. All that information comes from an academic standpoint where these people have training to work with the information and all, like it's well over most of our heads, all of our heads, right? That's what they do. And the climate is one of those things, right? Kind of like what they did with the virus, right? And that's the other thing, another pandemic. So people are really wary. Enough people are very wary that whatever is happening, it's more than likely this entrenched group that are attempting to take over and steal everything. And do we need to explain it any further, right? I mean, for some people, yes, maybe we do. In these, I guess with the readings, I guess we don't. I'm not sure. Like, it's time to be clear and calm, right? President Trump is, I don't know, like, I don't have insight into that type of world. I don't really want it. Actually, I'm glad he's doing it, not me, kind of thing. He's got this huge family. It's so funny. He rolled out his entire family, right? And I kind of saw that in the last reading, how, and I mean, they've been going after his family, but I can see now why that popped up in the reading, because that's what they're trying to do, is create this continuation. What is next? And that's good. It's really good. And man, it's just nice to see, actually, even though it's pretty glitzy and all the glam and everything. That's not really my style. But however, super positive. It's gonna help sort of restore kind of what he's talking about, and he's got this plan, right? And that's good. I think it's great, and I hope that it happens, and we'll do what I can to see it go through. And because I really do feel that with President Trump getting reelected, it's going to help the situation in Canada. And I want to see Canada restored. I want to see the same thing happen in Canada. I live in the greatest part of Canada, or what people claim to be, Alberta. And it's pretty awesome. Okay, let's see what's going on next is Trump. Let's look at President Trump, the Trump team. I mean, it really is Trump versus the deep state. And it's become so apparent. So that's how we should maybe look at this, right? So Trump versus the deep state. How's Trump doing? Is he going to be okay in the next couple of days? Are they going to try to kill him again? Are they going to try to assassinate him again? And what are they going to do next? How panicked are they? Because they are panicking. Like it's quite apparent, yeah, let's just see. Okay, so the other thing that I didn't mention as part of the thing that they've been priming the populace to sort of accept is the controlled collapse of the economy. Right? That's the other thing. I mean, that's also the big sort of push on, like, for the election. That's always one of the big election points. People vote with their pocketbook, okay? Do you see all the pentacles? Right? That's physical world. That's also the economy. That's one sort of thing, right? But, and you see, President Trump in his speech, I mean, that was a long speech. And most people that love Trump would have watched the whole thing, for sure, of course. I mean, yeah, so I get it. It can be a little boring at times, but it was awesome. But he laid out exactly what he was going to do, right? And I do trust him. He's like one of the few politicians that when he says he's going to do something, chances are he's going to do it. Okay, the COVID thing is the other bit of an issue, but I understand why that has come out. And I'm not going to really talk too much about it, but it's part of this deep state war that he's been, and what he's been under for so long, even during his presidency, okay? But anyway, he laid it out, and he basically told them, and I mean, that Harari guy, the second of the World Economic Forum, the philosopher dude, he even said that if Trump gets in, it's the end of the globalist order. It's the end of their plans, right? And so, and he even said it. He's like, no, we're not going to cut out fossil fuels. In fact, what did he say? We're gonna drill, then, and it's good, right? But that kind of rhetoric just freaks them out, because they know that is the end of their plans. And so, but what they've got in this thing with the global, this cyber outage, really kind of talks about is how they do have their hand on a button, kind of like what all of these whistleblowers have been telling us for decades. This idea of a kill switch on the internet or on the system, on the economy, that they've got their hand on it, right? So that's something that actually might come out more in the public, right? Yeah, these guys, the deep state's fractured. It's dangerous though, because the element, the fanatical element in it, the true believers are still kind of intact. That's what we're worried about. And the group that was once behind Joe Biden, we're part of that, but I think they've moved away from him. And in some ways they're going to let some of the things that they've built up collapse, right? Yeah, and like the whole world is waiting on this thing with the election, right? Like it's crazy. So yeah, piece by piece, the infrastructure of the deep state, of the corrupted deep state, of the shadow government, let's call it, that was sort of in place, and there's kind of a good reason why that was created during World War II, at the end of World War II, as a way of continuing government in case of a massive disaster, a massive nuclear attack, right? But this is another thing that has been co-opted, has been taken over, and that's what they're utilizing. And that's what that's how they have become in charge, right? That's my view, okay? But this apparatus, this system that they have built is slowly has been being taken away, and it's really frazzled. Yeah, it's like this thing. They're like they're 2 steps behind, and it's good. Haha, two of pentacles there. But yeah, they're more in a reactive state now, and that's good, right? No, it's good that sometimes I don't want to even do these readings. I don't even want to like put that energy out there. I don't want to tip these guys off, right? But this is for us. This is so that we understand a little bit better what's going on, and so that we can, take a breath. We don't need to panic over this stuff. I don't think, especially us that are energetically, well, none of us need to panic. Nobody needs to panic. Like, holy cow, that's feels awful. Yeah, people that are spiritually tuned in and activated, we got to transmute some of this energy and take it in, and then we spread it out into our world, and it has such a great effect, such a wonderful effect in the world, a positive effect, a creative effect. It's the energy of life. It's the energy of source flowing through us, right? That's part of it, right? So, and I've never been one of these people that want to deny myself anything or anybody else, and that's, I think, why people are attracted to me. It's because they also feel the same way. Okay, but yeah, it's kind of like this cyber outage, right? This is a test, right? Like this massive situation, like, and I mean, it's just like one of these things. It's kind of like how, when COVID happened, people went and bought all the toilet paper, and all of a sudden there was this huge toilet paper shortage, and that's what people were worrying about. Okay, and it's kind of the same deal. It's like, okay, you're stuck in an airport, you can't go to the hospital, the banks you got to wait on paying bills or getting your money or this and that, right? And communications are down for how long? For hours, for a period of time, but it's a disruption, right? A massive one. They do it. They create the situation and see what they can get away with. See how far does it go? How far do people go with it? What are they willing to accept? Right? And I guarantee you the next part of the rhetoric is that it's Russia, or it's North Korea, or it's Iran, or it's cyber hackers from some godforsaken place, or Trump supporters, or ultra right-wing so-and-sos from so-and-so, which really they're just deep state, and they might be CIA or, right, those kind of types, the intelligence community. So it's all just one kind of within the circle. And I think that's kind of part of what's happened is there is this breakaway from the globalists, and even within the deep state itself. This is what's been happening the whole time. People are kind of slowly kind of cluing in, like, this is the agenda. Your agenda is anti-human, and it's designed to depopulate everybody and to enslave us and to put us into a a new feudal state based on technology, like, you know, like in the Middle Ages, where we have serfs and the kings and the aristocracy. What, really? Okay, I don't want to have anything to do with this. Oh, in fact, I'm gonna mess with your project, your plan, your this or your that, and that's what's been happening. So that's good, right? It's just we're in this daunting time, right? So yeah, and see, and that's what we got to realize. The more we see these guys panic, like the media, the mainstream media, which are just, it's just the a wing of the propaganda wing of the deep state, of the intelligence communities. Okay. And that's the thing, they legitimately have been co-opted on the higher level for this aim of taking out the last system and creating a new system, which is more based around globalism and a global governance, right? Which is, in my mind, very totalitarian, and how it's come into being as totalitarian. If people can't see that, wow, but take a look, right? It's right there. It's all right there. I mean, and that's the same, you know, it's like in Europe as well too, this thing for the freedom people in Europe, everywhere. This thing in the States is, they're waiting to see what's going to happen, because if the States goes, what's going to happen in Europe? It's going to be terrible. And so one of the big things that President Trump said when he got elected, this is what clued me in, was, I'm getting rid of NAFTA, and that never should have passed, and we lost all our jobs. And I was like, what? And that was one of my big points. I think it was 94. Yeah, they passed NAFTA through undemocratically, without any voting, without any consensus of the people. And it just got passed through. And then that's when I started to hear about all the different agendas, really. But I was so young. I had no idea, and I was always kind of floating around this because I knew it was a lie, and I knew that this was going to be this slow decline. And that's what people were saying, older people around me, some of my teachers and stuff, so in school and stuff, were saying stuff like this. And yeah, so when Trump said it, I was like, holy cow, I've been waiting like 30 years, like, you know, 30 years for somebody to say this, 20 years for somebody to say this, and to do something about it. Same thing like with China, same thing like with the media, right? And he's like one in millions, one in lifetimes, one in centuries, I guess. There's got to be other politicians out there. There's got to be other people that are in the same way, right? I don't really know. But I do back that, because he did act on everything he said he was going to do. And I really do believe, whether he fulfills everything, I'm not sure, right? But I do believe he's going to do exactly what he says, because he's serious now. He is not doing it for any other reason for you, me, his kids, his family, his America. And what it really means, what it represents to the world as well. It's not just for Americans, even though it's an American first thing. But the nation states have to be restored, you know. This kind of idea of internationalism, communism, globalism is no good. There is no good aim that comes from that. And when the ideal, that what President Trump is talking about, and he's trying to restore the American dream, when that is uncorrupted and there is justice involved, like it's uncorrupted and based on truth, what else really creates the circumstance for things to blossom? And it is worth fighting for. That's what I believe. And I'm a Canadian. I'm a Canadian. Canadians are raised to not like America, right? Like this is how we've defined ourselves, is we're not American. We're North American, yes. We might be American. Canadians have no clue, for the most part, what would happen if the UK fell apart, or if Canada fell apart, or what, you know. And what would happen if the United States became completely deep state controlled then, right? You know, like we just don't know, right, per se. But Canadians we're in a backwoods in a lot of ways. I mean, not always. I mean, you go to the big city, it's just like in the States in a lot of ways. People are very smart. A lot of smart people here. It's just not as many people, right? But out, you know, and that's one of our blessings. We're kind of a little bit removed. But I think Canada could also be back again. I think Canada was at one time a really great place. There's no other reason why my grandfather would have fought in World War II, or my great uncle dying in Normandy, or, you know, my other relatives fighting in Korea, and my uncle being in the armed forces. Why? Because it's worth standing for. It was at one point. It really was. And there's still parts of it that are, and that's the same in all parts of that Western world. It's worth it. There's still time, right? This is what we got to realize, right? But if you really rest on your laurels and think that you can sleep this away like you did pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, it's different now. They have activated and politicized and weaponized all aspects of our lives. This is part of political warfare, psychological warfare. They've politicized everything. We have become a political pawn just by sitting here doing the readings and watching YouTube. Well, we know, a lot of us know this. This is what COVID showed us, right? It's just all of a sudden forced onto us. Okay, anyway. Yeah, we got a little bit of collapsing economy. That's what they're going to talk about. Let's see what else. What else do we need to know? Is President Trump safe for now? I didn't really see anything with him, but let's see if there's something that comes up. What do we need to know? What are they planning next? These guys, if they knock people like President Trump off the board, they will get away with it. Because there's only a few people that are actually capable of standing up and fighting these guys. That's really what it is. And now what's actually happened, and this is why we have to stay positive, because it's really cool. People are like, whoa, this thing with him, you know, it grazing his ear and him jumping up and everything, that's inspired so many people, you know. It's also cracked the left, you know, all of the gaslighting and the psyops on them. They can't see the forest through the trees. And to think that, like, you know, Joe Biden is the most popular president ever, and that's a staged event. The staged event is some dude wearing a mask. That's Joe Biden, because I think that happens sometimes. I think people spot that. But no, that was Trump. That was Trump at the rally. That was Trump. I don't think Trump speaks with a double. That's not how they do it. Okay, right now, what they are doing, the deep state, are digging. They're trying to find anything that they can do to attack the Trump team. Anything. The other part of it too is they're concocting this Biden step down. That's kind of part of it. It's like the psychological part, right? But this is what they do is they act, some kind of action will happen, and then they sit back and they wait and they study and they analyze to see what the response is, and then they act again. So they just did one this morning, right? This global outage, and they're trying to figure out, like, okay, how are we going to present the next assassination, the next attack, and make it look like just happenstance, like this. A lot of people just think this just kind of happens, like, oops, I forgot to press a button, and it's the Microsoft software that, like, you know, all of this whole huge system uses, and now it's not updated and it's crashed. And it just happens. Just kind of like COVID just happened. How, like, this guy just decides he hates Trump and then, you know, gets an AR-15 and boom. Right? Like, no, these things don't just happen. Right? And that's the thing. They're trying to figure out, how do we get people to not see how intentional this stuff is, and really to like throw us off and to distract us, right? So, and I think that's really what that thing was with the outage. There might be another one, actually. There might be a few more. It's kind of an ongoing thing, you know, till the big one's needed. Will they actually do the big one? I don't know. I think if they do the big kill switch, it is going to be around the economy. Has everything to do with the economy and restarting it with a centralized digital currency. So simple. And in order for you to take part in it, you have to be hooked up. Vaccinated, hooked up, brain chipped, whatever it is. Chipped, mark of the beast kind of stuff, right? And they are going to, and they're going to try. They're going to really try something like that. That's in the making. They've got all the patents, all the technology out, but that's, you know, that's only one little thing. That's not right what I'm seeing right now, because this is immediate future. President Trump, you know, he is shooken. When he said last night in his speech, like, I'm going to recount this tale only once and not a second time because it's too painful. He meant it. And I think the big thing that really plays on him is that, man, he won't have a chance to like golf with his granddaughter again, or to see his grandchildren, or to see his sons be successful, and see his kids, and see Barron grow into a man, you know, and things like that, right? And wow, right? So he's taking the step back and going, yeah, man, this is, it's important that I continue through. It's important that I really take this seriously now. And I don't know why I wasn't really fully taking it serious. I think that's kind of how he is. He's a brash character. It's so funny. That's kind of what I picked up before too, is sort of like he does take it seriously, like the fact that they've been pretty much saying for the last few years that they're going to try to kill him, that he hasn't really taken full measures or something, or he's kind of been like, yeah, good luck, you know. And he's cocky. I don't know. He's got this invincibility about him, but you know, that's worn off a little bit, because that's what happens. And I don't know if he's had a near-death experience. This might be his first one. And so he sees now, yeah, there is real purpose in this. God is real. And this is real. And this fight for America, and this fight for the people, and the fight for freedom is real. And I have to take this seriously, and I got to plan this, and I got to do this so that there is a continuation. So that's what he's doing, right? But he's well protected now. He's way more protected than he was before, right? So that's really good. They can't really get at him. Yeah, they're really trying to figure out who sides on what right now too. The Trump team is going through it, man, because they have made some monumental mistakes, and they're not going to go down that road again. And they're going to make sure that this election goes through, like in a proper way, and he's going to get elected, right? And he's going to make it. And they're like, that was this assassination thing. I think that this might have been their only chance to do it, because things were so lax. And you know, we've all said it. I mean, I've watched hundreds of those rallies, and I'm like, what the heck, right? Like, he could easily get shot. I mean, I know the Secret Service, but that's one thing that came out. It wasn't Secret Service people. It was Department of Homeland Security people that weren't trained by the Secret Service. They weren't Secret Service people. Makes so much sense. Makes more sense, right? Especially when you see the images of some of the, like, how they're acting. It's not how Secret Service people acted. Same thing happened with JFK. With and there's certain things that people saw right away, and they're like, that's not how security service people are supposed to act. And they know, like, you know, their father was in Secret Service, or their uncle or something, or, you know, people are smart, right? This is the beautiful thing about freedom and being in a free society. You can go and research those things, and there was trustworthy information. But by the 60s, things started to get really wonky, even in Kennedy's time. And even how Kennedy got into power. Very suspect. Election rigging. It's happening then. The other side was accusing him, the Eisenhower and Nixon side. That's the thing. Nixon's another one. Nixon's another one that I think potentially woke up to the machinations of these guys and said no. And I think part of their thing was that they were going to try to kill him. And he's like, no, I'm not going along with this. So they Watergated him. But look at Watergate. Watergate, if you know about Watergate, it's so small potatoes compared to what's happened to President Trump and what they've done to President Trump and like what some of these other politicians have done. Like oh man, it's crazy. It's just they've gotten away with so much. And that's what they're freaking out about because they know they're caught. They know they're criminal. And that and there's enough people in that Trump team that as soon as they get into power, boom, they're on them. It's what happened when he got into office the first time. It's like right away. I think he will switch the economy around. I really do. I think that's something that he's good at. But that's given people like in the business communities all over the world a lot of hope. They like seeing that. A lot of them didn't want to go along with, a lot of these higher ups don't want to go along with this stuff, And that's part of what it is he's trying to sway he's trying to get everybody together, man. He really is. And it's pretty awesome. Yeah, he showed to the people like he's more interested in unifying than creating division. And I hope people will see that and realize that the people like the media and stuff and the Democrats, a lot of them and the establishment types are doing that purposely, demifying this guy and spreading a lot of lies. The pushback needs to continue to happen, the peaceful fight. However, that sounds like a contradiction, right? But like exposing the border invasion on all fronts and how that is what's creating a lot of problems, man. The drugs are coming in, the human trafficking is happening because of that in a lot of in huge measures. And that they need to talk about it. It's being utilized. It's being utilized as a collapse. I mean, in the UK, get ready. I mean, that's a big part of the Labour Party is they, open borders. But people need to keep pushing back and keep calling it out. And kind of in some sectors, you do have to kind of fight back. Like, I mean, you're going to have to defend yourself. It's just, it's just how it is right now. Yeah, that's a huge thing. And like, I mean, this impulse, like a lot of people really just want to see a future for their kids. That really is, it's that simple, right? And that's what motivates President Trump. Like, that's simple, man. That's real love. That's when you really love your family, okay? Yeah, lies, communication blitz, or information blitz, a lot of disinformation, a lot of information. As real information comes out about the shooter, about this assassination attempt, there's a lot of disinformation that's thrown out to kind of counter it. Yeah, and like they're such cowards, these guys that are doing this stuff, man. They don't want to get caught, right? They want to hide from it. They want to do it in a way where they can get away with it, right? So, yeah, and that's what the tower here talks about really, is that they're going through the tower. They want to create the tower for us, this sort of idea of a black swan event or whatever it is, right? Some kind of an event that it's hard to tell like where it's coming from. That's what's going on with them. They're falling apart, right? They have no hope. And so in a lot of ways, what they're doing is, okay, well, when Trump gets into power, what are we going to do? What's going to happen next, right? And it's this thing of like, hurry up and create a war before he gets voted in. Because that is potentially a way of like stopping the election. But once that war, like a bigger conflict happens, then we have that to work from. And that's going to be part of that continuation. And we'll make tons of money, right? So, and boom. And so it's like, man, they should do anything like launch a tactical nuclear weapon or a dirty bomb or some kind of terrorist attack. All of those things, right? all in the cards, right? Okay, one just to close it off. See what else. So President Trump's safe for now. He's well secured. He's actually having a lot of family time, I guess. He's conferring with his close people right now for the next steps and the next rallies and leading up, and what measures need to be taken to put the right people in place in this voting system, and fighting the media onslaught, fighting the information war that's being waged against them, and trying to obfuscate or trying to deflect some of that, and also trying to be the example of the clear head, of the calm, because that's what's needed right now, and not have our side, the freedom side, the Trump supporters down in the States, to panic and to act rashly and to, take the bait. All right, so that's what they're doing. It's good. Okay. So I've been waiting for these moments, right? This is kind of why I go off and on YouTube, I guess, and stuff. I wait for the right moment, right? And so when we get activated and we get into the thrall of things, this is, I guess, where I start popping up more right now. I don't really know though, right? Because it's where things are being accelerated. And so anyway, it's like this idea of charities. And I mean, I've had these run-ins with these people on the street too, that operate like and try to get donations from people. Yeah, how are we going to help people if this system runs out, or if there's no more resources or money or this or that, right? Yeah, it's not going to work. And why wouldn't we? I mean, I talk to people on the street a lot of the time, okay? I talk to everybody. And man, a lot of homeless people say to me, a lot of people, like when I'm waiting for a train, or I'm going downtown to get a sandwich, or running errands or whatever, and somebody comes up and asks for money or asks for something, or, usually it's asking for money, right? Hey man, like, what do you think's going on in the world? What do you think's the big pressing issue? Why is the government letting all of these people from all over the world here and helping them out and not helping us? Everybody's been saying it. I know, right? I know. That's to say it. Like, why is it like that in Ireland? Why is it like that in Germany? Why is it like that? Why? They've been hooking us by that sense of that ethos of charity that is a big part of the Western world, a big part of the Christianity, right? They've done it, and it's so seedy and destructive that the whole charitable system needs to be taken apart in a lot of ways, because they've been taken over. Every major international organization like that has been taken over at the top, and the people that entrench themselves, just like what I talked about, they're just doing it for a job. They're breaking in the money. That's kind of the thing, and sort of recognizing, like, how do we balance that scale of not losing that charitable sense of ourselves, but also like looking after ourselves, right? And I guess that's maybe that lesson in that card is, in order to look after others, we have to look after ourselves first, right? I guess, right? But see, that's the thing, seeking unity, finding unity by seeing another person's perspective, even if they may not see yours at all. And not trying to see the other perspective. That's a good way to sort of defeat your enemy as well, okay? Those that live by the sword die by the sword. Those that allow, and that's the Ace of Swords, and those that allow the little monkey to talk, and me, you're not doing your part. And so how you do your part is you still that. You gotta get into that meditative stance. But every single person, humans are bred to have this so confused, and that's what they're attacking at, is the intellectual mind, that little voice, and getting it whipped up in people, and and freaked out, right? And so that's how we can navigate that better. Just us at home, just us as, simple beings, or however you are, wherever you are, and give silence and sit in meditation. I mean, I do a prayer and then I sit in silence. is usually how I do it. Okay. But it's that silence, that energy that comes from that stillness that creates the intention, that helps the intention grow. Okay, everybody, I guess that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed. So you make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And I hope everybody's having a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.